I think this thing is following me. What's up, guys? Got another video for you, kind of a how-to video. Our next holster up on deck is the Walther PDP, a 4-inch compact with an olight Valkyrie PL Mini 2. That's what we're working on today. Did you catch that? Yeah, we got some new film equipment. It's like I have my own cameraman going on. It's no hands. It's pretty cool, huh? I had alluded to in earlier videos that the longer this goes on, hopefully the better the film equipment would become, and we're getting there, guys. A few of you, some of the members on the page have probably already seen some of the new intros that I've been working on. I've got another one that's going to intro to this video. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet. Some of this will probably also get injected into that intro. Yeah, guys. So, man, if you, the longer you hang with me, the better this content is going to get. I realize that maybe sitting here watching, especially if it's not your holster being made, sitting here watching a holster being made is like watching paint dry. It's not that, I mean, it's probably not the most fun thing to watch. So I'm trying to make the content a little bit cooler, as in, you know, kind of this little guy following me around. I think it's pretty cool. I'm still learning how to use it. It's a gimbal. I have my phone mounted on a gimbal with an app that has active track, so it tracks my face, so I can come over here to the saw. Okay, don't have to touch it and come right back. I can stand up. Well, I didn't do it that time. Oh, there it goes. I'm just a little delayed for some reason. There we go. Maybe I moved a little bit too fast. I'm still learning the settings. Anyway, let's come on back down. Yeah, that's good. So we can see what we got going on here. And I already kind of done some of the work here for this guy. I was working on another potential holster that didn't happen. So I still have some of my tape on here. I'm going to trim it up a little bit and bring you guys down to the bench here. And you can see what we're working with here. I think it's so cool. So as I said, and we're not going to finish the holster today. For one, I work outdoors and it's really hot out here in my garage, aka the shop. So this is going to be a two-parter. No, that's not to get you guys more engaged and have to watch two videos, or is it? Anyway, it's hot, so I'm going to do a short video here. I'm going to show you some of the blocking for some of the folks out there who are potential people that are getting into the holster making process, wanting to start a business, doing this, all that good stuff. I want to show, I do like to share that kind of content because I was looking for a bunch of it myself when I first got going. So the more info, the more available info out there, the better it is for future builders. So yes, including my competition, which, you know, people probably say, man, why would you give away your secrets? Like I had somebody ask me about the sublimation video. Man, why would you just give that information away? And I'm like, look, man, I said, I wasn't the first one to give that away. Other people have, but some of those videos weren't the best. Some people, you know, didn't give out a whole lot of information on it. Anyway, where I feel like I compete is my service, of course, my product, of course, but I always try to be very responsive to you guys when you're placing orders. I mean, as most of you already know, when you place an order with me, if you're on Facebook, I'm going to message you. I'm going to confirm some things. I like to make contact with my customers. I want to talk to you. I want to know exactly what you want and exactly how you want it, because that's how I would like to be treated. So that's how I'm going to treat you. It's not me just trying to slide into your DMs and be intrusive. It's me wanting to know. I want to know specifically, because also part of that is too, I'm still working on the website. So I don't have every option available for you to pick when you order. So sometimes, yes, I do need to reach out to you and confirm a couple things. I'm not going to spam you. I'm not going to constantly be messaging you constantly. I'm messaging you to, iron and hammer out any details that may have not come through on your order if you order through the site. So, and that's just so I ensure that you get exactly what you want. Which is my goal. So, all right, as I said, light bearing, Walther PDP with a PL Mini Valkyrie, olight PL Mini 2 Valkyrie. What's interesting about this one, when the guy was on Facebook in one of the groups that I'm in, he had mentioned that he was looking for a holster, and immediately I saw the responses that were the very reason that I got into doing this in the first place. Get a quality light and you'll have a problem finding a holster. As most of you know who have ordered from me, whether it's the most popular light or not the most popular light. I mean, I don't know a lot of people running this light. I don't care. He likes it. That's what he wants to carry. We're going to make him a holster for it. I, the holster maker, am not going to dictate your gear. You should be able to carry what you want and what accessories you want on that firearm and be able to get a holster made for it. And that is what I aim to do. Currently I don't have every single available option out there. I had to buy this light, but it's because I want to be able to offer it. I know there are other people who have asked about it, who have asked about having a whole, I know there are people running this light. Anyway, that's besides the point. I see those responses and it's like, no, man, that's not how this should work. The holster company should not determine what light or attachment you run on your firearm that you want to carry. So, sir, you carry this light and we're gonna make a holster for it and you're gonna love it. So, let's get on with it. All right, so you guys have kind of seen me do these before. I have my my plates here that I use. These are for flat-sided lights. This light is flat on the side, not rounded. I use these flat plates to make the channel, if you will, for the light, for it to be able to be holstered. When you're doing these, as some of my previous viewers can attest, to taking your time, get it straight, straight with the bottom, with the gun. On a lot of light, not all, because this is kind of a compact light, just a little bit of and I'll show you, a little bit of the trigger guard is going to be below that light channel. That's kind of what you're aiming for. So you just want to cover just enough of the light here to where the bottom of the light is either even with or just above your light channel here. So I'm going to line this up. Let's see, I think I need to, yeah, I need, so because this has this little latch here, this little QD latch, the latch is higher than the body of the light. So we got to put a little something underneath there. And what comes in real handy for stuff like this are my infamous popsicle sticks. These guys, get them at Hobby Lobby. They're super cheap. For holster making purposes, these things are invaluable. When I first got into this, I was actually using these for blocking, and you get that weird looking popsicle stick mold looking definition on your holster, which, I mean, you can cut it, you can shape it, and it can look fine. As I've progressed here, I use flat aluminum and carbon steel flat bar stock, and I cut it into the shapes that I want. I try to make them as universal as I can to fit. I have another set of these flat plates that are just a little bit wider for a bigger firearm or a bigger bodied light that's flat. But I like this one. These plates will work for this olight, for this olight, and yes, it is a little bit different. The olight RL Mini, it's just ever so the body is a little bit thicker. These plates will work for that. It will work for the TLR7, TLR8. Well, maybe it will work for the TLR8. But you've got that laser on the bottom, so you've got to use something like what I use are these dowel rods, and I cut them and shape them to fit both sides of the retention plate. So just keep that in mind. when you're trying to make some of your blocking, like universal type stuff, just kind of get a ballpark of like, you know, okay, this light, this light, and this light are all within 1/4 of an inch thickness or whatever, so I can make the plate just a little bit larger and I can use it for all of them. That really helps. So you're not making specific plates, like stuff like this, for every single holster that you make. That's very time consuming. Which most of the time I spend is making some of the custom stuff, like the retention. I have to make a retention plate as long as it's, I mean, inside the waistband. I make these retention plates. I draw and cut these out for each one. That part has to be done. But some of the other stuff can be more universal, to where you can say, you know, time is money. So the more you can save yourself time down the road, the more you're going to make. So for those of you looking to do this as a business, so let's get back to the holster. So this gun has ambidextrous slide release, so one on each side. So what's nice here is I can push these two together. That will also help keep me straight here. So let's see. And again, as I've said, nothing is permanent yet. We haven't molded anything. So the more time you take here to get everything lined up and straight how you want it, the better off your end result is going to be. One thing to also keep in mind, when you go to cut this is the back side. So this will come around, we will come just off the trigger guard and come straight up. So this plate needs to be long enough to be able to give you room to cut, to come up to make your sweat guard, right? So it's gonna come up like that, right? So it needs to be long enough, okay? Keep that in mind. Sorry, maybe some of this stuff is redundant or geeky or whatever, but I've found those explanations and stuff like that to be invaluable, at least for myself and what I've learned, you know, since I've been doing this. Sometimes those little details can really make a big difference, especially for someone that is new to the industry. So I try to be as descriptive as I can without boring you guys to death, while also still trying to appeal to some of the newcomers. We don't want to scare people away, because really, in the end, the more people we have doing this, man, the better products. I mean, all the big holster manufacturers out there either started off small, or they relied on folks like myself and other smaller business holster makers to essentially make their prototypes. Those guys aren't spending a ton of money and time on R&D, as far as I can tell. So we know that they're looking at our stuff and they're saying, hey, we could do it like that, or hey, you know, that's a good idea. I mean, I don't have people reaching out to me like big manufacturers and saying, hey, how did you do that? But it's pretty self-evident when one of us develops a new technique or a new way of doing things, and then we see it pop up in some of these bigger, big name holster makers. It's obvious they were paying attention, and that's where it came from. I mean, personally, like I said, where I think I compete is my service and my communication, and my willingness to take on just about any holster light combination, whereas some of the big guys won't. Well, we don't get enough requests, and I guess to a certain extent I get that if it's not going to pay for itself, but it's just, I know there's enough people out there to make this specific light combination holster that it will pay for itself. I know it exists. Those people are out there, and they've been turned down by other manufacturers, and that's where I like to think that I come in. All right, what have I said before? Tight, straight, crispy lines with your tape as best you can. Some of that will show through on the inside. Of course, it won't show through on the outside. But those of you, my frequent viewers, you know how I am about tape lines. Sometimes it's in the details, you know. Sometimes that's what people really pay attention to. Some people will. So treat your customers how you want to be treated. Let's get a little bit on this side here. It's a little bit wiggly. This one won't be as straight because it's a weird angle. All right, so that's pretty good for that side. Let's flip it over. This side's a little bit easier. It's a little bit less. Well, I say it's a little bit less. It's almost the same as when we do our clip and all that. So as you can tell, this side is already blocked for the controls. So all we've got to do is block for the light. Let's make sure we're on the same. So when you're lining these up this way or that way, you want, I mean, if you want it to be geometrical, both sides, the light channel the same, you can line it up. The same, I could come back here, it wouldn't be the same. I'm looking down here, I can look across the bottom of the holster, and I can see where it's at. Okay, and that looks pretty good. Let's tape it down. Let's get it back straight. Nice, tight, crisp around the edge of that plate there. And we'll make our incisions. So the tape on this side will lay flat. We can fold that guy under, press that down, because this will actually get cut off about right here. That's where it's getting cut off at. And put a piece of tape up here. Okay. That's pretty good. Now, we're gonna, this holster is getting a foamy. And when so you have to think about it like this. Now, granted, I have the clip right here somewhere. I'm gonna get a nice metal foamy. You can do this too, like I said, the more time you spend in prep, the better result you're gonna get in the end. Take your clip and kind of see where it's going to be at. See where, so you want the belt line, like there's the curvature of the trigger guard. Just where the trigger guard curves up, that's where you want the belt line. The belt line is the very top right here. Not the holes up here, but the top, like where the clip bends over. So that's where you want it to meet. I don't need the visual myself, but I wanted to show you that you could do that when you're learning where it goes. This is adjustable, in case you guys can get the template. Is adjustable, ride height and cant. I do most of mine this way unless the customer specifies that they absolutely do not want adjustable cant, which, to be honest, I mean, it's the same really either way. Like I said, this can be 0 cant, or I forget what the actual degree of adjustability on. Hang on, guys, I gotta cut. Let me see, will this work? Because I have a space here, so it's because it's rocking. So I've gotta put a space. I gotta find something. I have to support that. But we don't want it rocked out. That's too thick. Let's see. I have all sorts of little trimmings of all kinds of crap here. Popsicle sticks and MDF and all kinds of stuff. That's another good thing what these things are good for, these popsicle sticks, is you can use them to build up for like a spacer like I'm doing now. It looks like 2 is going to be it. Put them right there. And I'll line this up. I want it to be straight about the middle here. Let's see, we're gonna clip. You can do this too. You can take your template and still kind of verify that's a little bit low, so let's come up. Okay. It looks pretty good. looks pretty good. Okay, let's tape that guy down. Come this way first, and it's going to be kind of wonky because of the blocking below it for the slide release. That's all right. Oops. That stays straight. Push down, kind of hold it. I have to make a couple little incisions here because of the spaces down in between here. To get all of our tape to lay down the way we want it. We don't want it tinting or bubbling up in there. Incision over here. Okay, not quite enough, so now we'll come this way. We do not want that to shift when we go to press it. Alright, it's on there pretty good. Fold that guy down, press the corners in. Okay, looks pretty good. Like I said, it's going to look kind of wonky because of all the blocking underneath, but that feels pretty good. Let's get our star on here. Where'd my star go? There it is. Okay, let me see if I have another one as well. Okay, this one will work. Put it down here into the muzzle. Get our tape. Tape that guy down, get it straight. Okay, that's that. I gotta fix that. That needs to, hold on. So we need a little incision there, a little bit of tinting. Okay. Now we will put on our retention plate. All right. For me, I find that having this vise helps to have an extra set of hands to hold it. You can do it without it. It's not a necessary tool. But that way I find that I can set it in there, and then I can set my retention plate, let it go, grab my tape, and tape it down. When you're doing these, you want it center of the gun. I'll put some more there. Just wanted to get it down. Let's see. A longer piece. That's better. We'll put a piece over here at the muzzle. Take it out, turn it up, like so. retention plate on there. Oh, in case anybody was wondering, so for these retention plates, or for the retention aspect, I use 1/4 inch thick MDF, medium density fiberboard. It gives me that, like when I press it, it gives me that just the right thickness to insert the retention spacers and the screws to give it the retention, as the name implies. So yeah, that's going to be it for this episode, guys. And the next one we'll finish it up. We'll get it molded and all that good stuff. I am really liking the let's see. I'm still learning how to use the tracking feature. Let's just bring it up some. Okay, so but yeah, stay tuned for the rest of this build. As usual, as I say, and I'm going to say in all my videos, check us out, Facebook, YouTube. Join the Facebook group. I do monthly giveaways. I ask a question, do a drawing on the 15th of every month, and do the build. Most of the time, the build will be videoed, and we give it out. I really enjoy doing that. It gets people engaged. It gets people interested. It gets people paying attention. And it's fun. It's something I enjoy doing. I genuinely do like to help people, and if I can give a little bit of something to help somebody out, and so be it. I realize it's a gun holster, but I want everybody to be able to carry their firearm, to be able to defend themselves. I think it's very important to me. And I don't just care about my right to do that. I care about yours as well. So anyway, I enjoy it. So I'm gonna leave you guys with that. Man, stay tuned for all the cool new stuff. It's getting better, guys. It's gonna get cooler. The content's gonna get better. The offerings are gonna get better. The options are gonna get better. Everything's it's gonna get better, guys. So stay tuned. YouTube, Facebook, like, subscribe. See you next time.